Analysts say they're going into the round of strategic talks with fairly low expectations. They say that's because the relationship between Beijing and Washington is becoming more and more complicated as China's global influence continues to grow. This, on top of the issues mentioned by the U.S. Treasury Secretary. Here's a look at two more big concerns. One, the ongoing dispute between China and its neighbors over the South and East China Sea. The U.S. has said it is not taking sides over the oil-rich waters, but the Obama administration have described China's behavior as aggressive. Two, cybersecurity. That's probably the most contentious point between the two. The U.S. is pushing for renewed cooperation, but this comes just 2 months after Washington accused 5 Chinese military officers of spying on U.S. companies. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has said that the U.S. is not sincere about resolving security matters. Now, high on Obama's administration's S&ED agenda this time around is the bilateral investment treaty, as you just heard. An agreement would mean more openness and investment for the world's 2 biggest economies. Shraysi Tandon reports.
The U.S. and China are working on hammering out the details of a bilateral investment treaty. If an agreement is reached, it would mean that China would change the rules for U.S. companies operating in the country. As it stands, China maintains ownership restrictions on U.S. and foreign companies operating in over 100 sectors, including energy, agriculture, and manufacturing. Such ownership barriers have prevented U.S. companies from expanding and reaching more customers in China. Experts say finalizing the bilateral investment treaty is high on President Obama's Chinese to-do list.
U.S. direct investment in China constitutes only about 3% of all investment in China. Similarly, Chinese investment in the United States constitutes only 1% of all foreign investment in the United States. So there is a huge opportunity for growth on both sides.
Currently, the U.S. has bilateral investment treaties signed with 41 countries, including Egypt, Turkey, and Ukraine. But a deal with China would by far be the largest.
The importance of the bid is it sets basic economic conditions, basic regulatory conditions for the 2 sides. It promotes transparency, it guarantees non-discrimination, and significantly, it promotes competitive opportunity.
It's not just the U.S. that would benefit from such a treaty. China has a lot to gain, too. Stephen Lieb is a financial author and president of Lieb Group. He says a bilateral investment treaty could be the golden ticket China needs for making its yuan a reserve currency.
You add these 3 things together: size of the economy, military, trade, and you have the case for what we would call a reserve currency. Now, if all of a sudden China opens up the road to investment and makes it easier to invest in their country, that disadvantage, the disadvantage of not being able to invest in China, will disappear vis-a-vis the U.S. Not completely disappear, but it will lessen, so that the case for the yuan as a reserve currency will strengthen.
The bilateral investment treaty requires 2/3 of majority support in the Senate, and experts believe the treaty will receive the political backing it needs because the benefits of increased economic cooperation between the 2 superpowers is vital for the success of both China and the U.S. Shraysi Tandon, CCTV, New York.